Yo, so I know it's been way too long, YouTube. Why I'm making this video in the first place is basically because in the past 12 months, I feel like I've gone through so much in my entrepreneurial journey. So much lessons learned and painful lessons and stress and a lot of ups and downs. And I feel like I should document it. Not only because I've gotten a ton of comments from old videos, I haven't posted in forever, but I get comments like, Chidi, when are you posting your next video? Make more content, this and that. So basically, this video is for you guys. If you've been, following, watching my videos for some time now, I feel like I owe it to you guys to give an update and also hopefully, share something about my journey that can help you avoid some mistakes in your entrepreneurial journey if you're starting a business or looking to start a business anytime in the near future. So let's jump into it. This video is basically walking through the last 12 months of my journey, some of the mistakes I made, some of the lessons I've learned, about focus and why focusing on one thing is so important in your entrepreneurial journey. Let's jump into it. This is going to be a raw video. I got pretty burnt out. I've edited so many videos in my life and did years of production work and video editing, and so I just figured if I complicate the process, I'm not actually going to make the content. And so this is going to be raw, uncut. We're just going to riff through it. Might end up being a long video, but that's that. It's going to be raw and authentic. So let's jump into it. So I just want to preface this by, I think by this time I'm 25, turned 25. Oh, I turned 25 last year. It's 2020. I'm going to turn 26 this year. And I believe Just Pen and Media might be, or at least up to this year, up to this day, I've started over 10 different businesses, probably more than that if I actually count them all up. Like 5 of those were within 2021, which is crazy, and we're going to jump into that story. But it's a lot. It's been a lot of lessons learned, and those aren't all, successful businesses. Like there's only been a handful of those I would say, successful, but really I learned from all of them, and they all, ended up bringing me to where I am today. And so I'm thankful for them. And that's really part of the entrepreneurial journey in general, is that, you're going to start a lot of things that don't work out. And what I'm learning, it's really just a continual evolution, and each one, builds you up and develops a new skill set within you, where you learn a certain lesson that will, increase the likelihood of the next business to work out. So let's jump into it. So we're going to rewind back to any of the last videos you saw on my channel. Actually, the last one I believe was on the course, which I'm going to touch on, but let's reverse further into a refresh of the timeline. So during lockdown, I went from being a freelance videographer to niching down into real estate and deciding to go all in on real estate media, which means shooting homes for real estate agents to help them market and sell their property. So all the photos you see on Zillow and Trulia, things like that. And so we made that move. It ended up being one of the best decisions I ever made, was finding a niche and committing to it, because it actually allowed us to grow at a much accelerated pace, because everything was able to be the same each time. Every time we went into a home and did a knockout package, which is photo, video, drone, and 3D tour, it's the same process, and it's the same editing style and the same editing workflow, which made it so I can actually start to build a team around that. I can look at how I shoot, how I edit, make training materials, process systems around that process, and then hire someone else to do that. So we were able to do that, pretty accelerated pace. The first months, first pretty much year straight of Just Pen and Media was all focused on one thing. I didn't do anything else. Every single day I woke up and was like, how can we become the best real estate media in the city, in the state, in the country? That was where my mindset was at, which delivered a hyper sense of focus, which meant, we grow really quickly. By the end of, within 12-month period, I believe we ended up doing, or at least just, we're only in our second year of business, and last year I believe we did over 800 shoots, which is pretty awesome, and started 2 new locations in other cities in Denver and Hawaii as well. So we did that all within the past pretty much less than 2 years, pretty much since COVID. I don't even know the timelines now. It's 2 to 3 years ish, but coming up on around 2 years of business, I believe. And so the reason we were able to have that accelerated curve of growth was because I was going all in on one single thing. And so I did that up until about June and July of last year, which was 2021, where I was actually able, thankful, I hired a manager. We had photographers that were trained that could shoot just like I shoot. We had an editing team built, even had a virtual assistant that helped manage a lot of the back end stuff, deliveries and stuff like that. And had a test. Basically, was going on a trip with some friends to Vegas, in California for 2 weeks. So it was going to be a real test of my business and systems to see if it could run without me. Um, Basically what happened was the business ran, I mean, really smoothly without me. I was very surprised. I was able to go 2 weeks off, completely removed from the business, and we had our busiest months to that date, yet, which was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, it had been a goal of mine pretty much since I started my entrepreneurial journey like 6, 7, 8 years ago, to have a business that could run without me. And it was like the first time I actually did it. And to me, the first mistake I made was thinking I had made it. And like that was the peak of the mountaintop. And instead of, seeing that growth and seeing how we had built things and looking how to push it further, I looked in, assumed, okay, check mark, I built this business. I can now move on to the next thing, which was the biggest mistake right there. Instead of going deeper and further, I decided to pivot and do something else, without fully, building the business to a place where it can fully run and grow without me. There's a big difference between operating between for 2 weeks without me and being able to grow 6 months, year after year without me. Very big difference. So that was the first mistake. I ended up launching a course, and switching right in the next month. So June, so 6 months of 2021 spent all in on Just Pen Media. We had built up one extra location in Hawaii, and then decided to pivot and basically focus on the course right in July. After that, had some success with the course, but again got distracted, lacked my focus, and decided to do another thing, which was go back to launching new locations. For Just Pen Media. So I went crazy and started hiring like 50 to 100 applicants all over the U.S. looking to expand the Just Pen Media brand and be like, okay, we can partner with contractors, teach them how to shoot, and then go get clients for them. That's how we're going to grow to the next level. Did that for another 30 days. Had some roadblocks, had some struggles, didn't really, have the focus because again, I still had, Just Pen Media, Just Pen our second location in Hawaii, and then also the course kind of running in the background while I'm now doing all this expansion efforts, bringing on all these people to the team without having like a really solid built out process and system, which kind of uncovers another lesson, which is you need to find a good balance between growing, being ambitious and growing too fast and being in such a rush that you're not building things the right way, because you can really burn a lot of bridges. Things just, you're not going to be building your business in a sustainable way if you're bringing on all these people but have no real training and onboarding system and process, and don't even have enough time to check in with those people properly, make sure they're having success with the training process and great communication. So really just ran into a bunch of roadblocks, at that time, because I was already pretty much all over the place, spread way too thin. So that's the very next month. So we're talking June, launched a course, went, from zero to building and launching a course, having paying members, having coaching calls and all that. The very next month, hiring a bunch of people from all cities across the US to the team without no real onboarding process, which was ridiculous, when I really look back and think about it. So again, lessons learned so far: don't pivot too quickly, go deeper, and then also don't scale too fast without having the back end system to really do it the right way, because it's not going to be sustainable. Very next month, I made the great decision to also go in and buy my first rental property, which we're talking now August, September months. Which is just crazy. But just the speed of how it was literally month to month, I was pretty much starting a new business or some huge project, that was going to add on to the previous one. And so, I decided looking for properties. It had been my goal for 6 years to buy a rental property. Interest rates were low. I was able to get pre-qualified, and I ended up pulling a trigger on a property within 2 weeks of deciding to buy a property or being interested. I ended up making an offer on a fourplex and got it. And then decided, because the unit I was going to be moving into was really old and dirty, because the tenant had been living there for over 10 years, I had the great decision to go in and then renovate the whole unit myself for a full month. So again, look at, we had one business running already that already had grown to a team with a manager and assistants and photographers. And then I added on a course and now had that coaching program going. And then I went and added on all these other photographers. And then I went and bought a fourplex the very next month and decided to take a month off from all of this, or put this on the back seat for a whole month so I could do flooring and paint and renovate a unit of a fourplex. Which the lesson in that as well, dive into that individual lesson, was that, I think it was a little bit early or preemptive. Long term, the fourplex is a great investment. Short term, was the timing the best? No, simply because at that point I had took a lot of the cash flow, the profit from the business, the money I had saved up, and put it into that fourplex property. At the same time, we had all this team, infrastructure, payroll, new expenses from all these different ventures that had spent capital, and so money got super tight as we started to go into slow season, because real estate media is very seasonal, as in, especially here in Alaska, during our winters, things slow down a lot, compared to summer season. And so I was spending all this money on these different ventures and projects and distractions, and then bought this fourplex, which also brought my cash savings down a huge amount. Spent like 80% really, after the renovations of what I had saved up, all for revenue to steeply start to go down, and our team overhead was higher than it ever had been before. Plus I had all these other random expenses from these different ventures. So you could see how this would be a recipe, not for disaster, but for a lot of stress and a lot of worry about, managing finances, paying bills, paying the employees, paying the team, and stuff like that. And so that was in just October. And so we're not even finished yet. Somewhere in that mix, we also ended up launching a new location, and also partnering with a couple other real estate photographers on consulting deals. Basically, they were willing to give me a percentage of their revenue to help them run and grow and scale their real estate media business, and give them all the systems we've created to grow our real estate media businesses. So I had 2 people sign up from that, which is technically like a whole nother business, like a consulting business within that whole pile of stuff, while we're going to slow season, while overhead staying high and expenses are staying high, revenue is starting to drop, plus my focus is at an all-time low. And it took a month off to renovate, physical labor every single day, because I wanted to finish it as fast as possible. Again, just being in a rush and pushing myself way too hard, managing like 4 businesses at the time, plus renovating a whole apartment unit in my new fourplex, plus learning how to manage the fourplex as well, caused me to, in November, I had finished pretty much November, December now of 2021, I had finished the fourplex, but was literally at the all-time, I would say, low, in my entrepreneurial journey, as in I had all this stuff going on and I just had zero focus. I could not focus on a single thing. Every time I sat down to work, I would think about the, jump from business to business to business. And even up until now, we're now in March and I'm still kind of undoing, some of this stuff. And so I was really just super burnt out, really. Honestly, I was the most burnt out I've ever been. Lack of motivation, lack of focus, but the one thing, that was cool, I'd say, was that each project or venture, more or less was in a leveraged way, in terms of, not all the work was put on my shoulders. I still had a team running the Just Pen In, brand. I still had, some help with the course. I still had, a business partners in our other 2 locations that were actually running day-to-day operations. And the consulting agreements, at the end of the day, they were still running their businesses. I was just helping them. So it's not like everything was all on my shoulders, but still I was being spread so thin, which was such a big mistake looking back on it. Because if I really think about how much more effective would I had been if I had erased all of that happened in the second half of 2021, and instead just doubled down on Just Pen and Media, and saw where we could really take it to the next level, build a team up, make sure our training is the best it can be, make sure our marketing is the best it can be, make sure our editing team is the best, and our workflows and systems and processes are the best they can be, versus starting all these other things and being in such a rush, building them up super quickly just to switch to the next one. As you can see, it's just big learning lessons there. So getting to December once again, it's a super hard time. I'm still just like dealing with all this stuff, and I had the great idea, if I didn't have enough going on already at that point, to yet start another business and add that onto my plate, which happened to be a lead gen service for real estate agents, because it was a good thought process, but the timing again wasn't the greatest decision. As in, basically, I was like, hey, real estate agents, we had all these active clients. At that point, we had built up Just Pen Media. At our other two locations, we had, probably a few hundred active real estate agents that use us for real estate media services. Had the great idea to start a real estate lead gen. We were like, hey, we're already shooting your listings to help you market in properties. We'll help you get more listings, get more clients as well, as a higher ticket service to just basically our top clients in each area was the idea. And I jumped into that hardcore in December while I'm still dealing with everything that I already had going on, and ended up jumping all into that. And then basically signed on 3 clients really quickly, and then already had a vacation plan to Hawaii, which was a great vacation, but the timing of it was kind of ridiculous, as you could see, to fit in a vacation in the very next month after signing on 3 new clients for a brand new service that I had not a high level of experience in. As you can see, just the timeline of things are pretty nuts. So now we're into 2022, took a vacation, came back, was like, all right, it's game time. Let's see what we can do. And I started scaling just very fast. I started, again, like everything else, growing way too quickly without having our back end processes, and before even launching ads and getting our systems ready for the 3 clients we signed on first, I had taken on 5 more clients. Again, a very smart decision, as you can see. I was operating. It's just funny because, like, looking back as I'm saying it out loud, it sounds actually ridiculous, but take it as a learning lesson. So what I should have done was taken on those 3 clients, delivered at a very high level of service, for them before it got them results, got them happy, figured out our processes, systems, bring in new team members to help them roll out that service and fulfill on it, rather than everything being on my shoulders while I'm still managing all these other businesses that had started. That would have been the right way to do it, or the right way to do it really would have been not to do it at all, and just wait until I had built up Just Pen and Media even further. However, it is what it is. So we actually did get results for that client, but again, still now brings us into February and March, where I'm pretty much still dealing with the aftermath. The big question for me, to myself right now, is basically now how to get back to one single focus, one thing, one main business. And that has been the big question in my mind. As of now, I still have a few of these things going on. Not a few, pretty much all of them in one way or another. We still am running Just Pen and Media. Just Pen in Hawaii is our second location that I'm a part of, a business partner in. Just Pen in Denver is our third location with that as a business partner as well. We still have the course. And the course, by the way, just to kind of clear up the air on that, we actually have successfully had over 3 case studies of course members that have signed up for the course and have gone over $10,000 a month in their real estate media business within 6 months going through our program. So I just want to throw that out there, that we didn't create this program as another BS course just like every other course creator out there. Like, it's actually really solid. I'm not actively putting that as my main focus right now, though. I brought in a partner to actually run that side of the business because I simply, spread too thin. I couldn't do it all at once. But I am proud of the results we've gotten for the members that have signed up and the value they've gotten, in knowing that it is a real, actual, program that delivers great results. It's exactly how we built our business versus just slinging a course that I whipped together in 5 minutes for an overpriced amount and scamming people out of their money, because I know so many people are doing that nowadays and have been burned. Anyways, I'm not even gonna get into that anymore. I just wanted to clear that up on that, that it wasn't just another get rich quick type of thing that was a piece of crap that we sold and then abandoned. I feel really happy with the results we've gotten, from the people that have trusted us. Anyways, moving on. Of course, still have consulting agreements, still have the rental property, of course, but it's lower maintenance. It's relatively streamlined. We have tenants, so it's really just pretty chill on the rental side of things now that the renovation is actually done. And then still have the marketing clients that I'm still growing and still putting together systems and processes and trying to develop that skill set a little bit. I also brought in some people to actually run the day-to-day optimization of the client accounts and ad setup and stuff like that, so that I can really just get the mental clarity. So after all that, that gives you context to what I've been through. It's now March 2022. At this point, I still lack a lot of focus. That's why I wanted to make this video, kind of to just mentally get, mentally clear my plate, or at least think out, what I've been to in a structured way, the lessons I've learned from it, but also share kind of how I'm currently going about working back to getting one thing, if you might be in the scenario, or if you're just curious how I'm doing it. So there's really three things. One, working back to getting on one thing. This has been hard, but my thought process has been delegate as much as possible, and look at which ventures I'm going to close or exit out of within the next 6 months. And I mean, preface that with just realizing that it's going to be something that takes time, and it's not going to be an overnight thing to just undo all of this stuff that I basically got myself into. And so that's piece number one, understanding I have to be patient with myself, understanding that these are all things I started that I'm going to have to follow through and find some way to, eventually exit out of if I want to get my mental clarity back sometime this year. And so basically my goal, by the end of this year or sooner, we'll see the time frame, is to get back to one thing, one single business that I'm focusing on, that has all of my time and intention, versus being spread thin between 6 different businesses pretty much. So one part of that is just delegating the day-to-day work of as much as possible, and so bringing in people that can fulfill on the client work, for the marketing program. Again, I dove into the marketing head first, realized that it was, being torn between so many different directions. Okay, so I partnered with someone who's already really good at marketing services. They're now going to take on those client accounts, and now, really, I won't have to do too much, on those client accounts, and I can get some of my focus back to now think about long term, where do we want to head. So that's one kind of tactical step of how I'm kind of like creating more mental space to get back in my flow and focus back. The next thing is just really focusing fundamentally back on healthy habits. So reading has been big for me. Jumping back, I just read a book called Atomic Habits that has been really awesome. Working out. Started working out at Rumble Fitness. It's like a boxing group training class, really dope. Been really liking that. Been going 5 times a week pretty consistently. And then eating healthy as well, and eating truly healthy salads, eating, less, almost no fast food really, no soda, trying to drink more water, and just eating overall healthy, because I know that's going to be one of the biggest factors to, feeling better, having more energy, and overall living longer. And then the last one, which is more like mental development wise, is just understanding that this is part of the journey. This is part of the entrepreneurship journey. This is part of what I signed up for. I was venting to one of our clients, or slash a business mentor of mine, telling him about all the stuff I'd been through and just felt like I'd been through, and the stress I was going through, the anxiety, and stuff like that. And he was like, all right, Chidi, what you should do? You should sell your fourplex, sell all your businesses, and go get a 9 to 5 job. And when he said that, I kind of laughed, like mentally, but like it kind of clicked. It was like, okay, like that is my alternative, and I know that's not the path I was meant to go. And so this is what I signed up for, and this is part of the journey. And so I'm trying to be really mentally work on being okay with, patient with myself, and just working through things mentally, and just giving myself the space to navigate through this journey, and not feeling so pressured, and like we have to make $1 million this year, and get super rich as fast as possible. It's slowing everything back, making sounder business decisions, being okay with some of the mistakes I've made, and really looking at them instead of mistakes, looking at them in terms of lessons that I learned. That's why I kind of want to make this video. And just being patient. We live in this world of society where we go on social media, we see all these people on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok just making a gajillion dollars in their first 90 days. And the reality is, and I can speak from actual experience, that it took me maybe 3, 4, 5 years, 5 to 6 years, I think, in business to make my first 100K. So to put that in perspective, where people are making YouTube videos on how to make $1 million in 90 days, in 30 days, in less than a year, in 6 months, right? It took me personally, and again, I think I'm just an example of what the normal or average entrepreneur can expect in a way. I don't think I'm above average in a lot of areas, but it took me 5 or 6 years. I don't remember the exact journey, but it probably took me about 5 to 6 years of different businesses over 7 different ventures to ever make over $100,000. And so to put that in perspective, when we're getting, inputted with this message of make $100,000 in 30 days or $100,000 in 2 months or 6 months or $1 million in that or 3 million, 5 million in 2 years, like these crazy numbers that people are putting out there, we're looking at that as being the norm, when the reality is more like it's going to take you multiple businesses, it's going to take you multiple years to get to that level in reality, most commonly, for the average person, versus some of these anomalies of people that are launching NFTs and becoming millionaires overnight, and stuff like that. It's just, that's not the average of really how most entrepreneurs make it. And so I wanted to make this video just kind of as a demonstration of that, of my journey, document that and the lessons I've learned, how I'm thinking through it, how I'm going about it. Hopefully it saves you a lesson. So to sum everything up, my advice to you is, if you are just getting into business or you're running your current business, stay focused on your current thing. It's okay to adapt and pivot and move. I've started, again, we've been, this is like my 10th business venture. And so you can realize when something's not working, stop it to start the next thing. But don't try to stack things on top of each other. At the end of the day, if I could go back in time, my rule or lesson for myself probably would be just one thing at a time, and I have to fully close down any other things before I start something new. Because at the end of the day, you can't be like the CEO of multiple businesses. None of the top CEOs are besides like Elon Musk, and he's like a outlier, are CEOs of multiple businesses at the same time. And so, basically, if you're gonna stack multiple things on your plate, you're gonna be overworked, overstressed, lack focus, lack clarity, not be able to think, not be as productive. Money's gonna be all over the place because you have income and expenses coming in from different places, and it's gonna be crazy. Versus just having one thing, one single focus, and one goal, one direction you're pointing towards, and you can just go all in on that. And so that's why I made this video. Hopefully it was helpful for you guys. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. I've learned more than I could even make in this video. I could go on and on about the different lessons, and I make this video just because hopefully it can help show you what not to do in your entrepreneurial journey, or if you're getting ready to jump into a business or looking to be in the same position as me, where you're running multiple things and trying to get back to one focus. Hopefully this helps reassure you that you're not the only one. And a lot of people are just figuring their journey out, and that's what it's about. So one quote, I'll just end this video with, something Alex Hormozy. He's one of the biggest, kind of one of my idols in terms of entrepreneurs, is that he says the work works on you more than you work on it. And then paired that with, a quote in the book Atomic Habits I read recently, talking about basically that life's not about the habits you create or the goals you create or set. It's about who you become in that journey. And so on that thought process, it's helped reassuring me that, okay, it's not just about the outcomes, it's not just about the money in my bank or the mistakes I made. It's about who I'm becoming, the character traits I'm learning, the lessons I'm learning, the knowledge, the experience I'm learning throughout this journey, not just the outcome, etc. So those thoughts have all given me a little bit of more peace of mind, have helped me be more patient with myself. So I'll wrap it with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Comment down below one lesson maybe you learned from it. I love to chat back. I do respond to pretty much every single comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.